Well, if you've lived in Wisconsin for a long enough time, you've probably heard the term pneumonia front before. Yes, it's an actual term, but what does it mean? Well, often cold fronts will move from the northwest to the southeast across the state. But sometimes along Lake Michigan, we can get what we call a backdoor cold front, meaning it comes from the northeast and moves to the southwest, kind of an odd direction, right? Well, let me explain here. This often happens when the lake is much colder than the land, so that would be in the spring and early summer months, and you'll get the cold front racing across the lake for two reasons. Number one, the lake is colder, and number two, there's no friction on Lake Michigan, so that causes the front to move faster down the lake than, say, in inland locations. So that causes the front to speed up and come in from the northeast. So what that does is that quickly turns the wind direction around to the northeast in lakeshore communities from where this front comes through. Now, the term pneumonia front was actually coined by the Weather Bureau in Milwaukee, which is now the National Weather Service, and this was back in the 1960s. No, it has nothing to do with pneumonia, but it emphasizes the point that it's a sharp drop in temperature in a short amount of time. Now, the official definition is a 16-degree temperature drop or more in 1 hour or less. Typically, it's much less. In fact, we often see in the Milwaukee area in the spring and early summer, when these things come through, the temperature will drop. It could be 15 to 25 degrees in just a matter of 10 to 15 minutes. I mean, literally, you could be going out to lunch and it's 85 degrees and suddenly it drops into the low 60s in a matter of minutes. I mean, it is jarring when these temperatures drop quickly, and that's that cooler lake air that is quickly coming in. Why? Well, colder air is denser or heavier than warmer air. So again, that front surges down the lake. It's coming in from an odd direction, so to speak, from the northeast. So we call that a backdoor cold front, and it can rise to the level of a pneumonia front, so to speak, when it's 16 degrees or greater in terms of that temperature drop in 1 hour or less. So keep an eye on the weather forecast in the spring and summer if you live near the lake, because these can be some pretty big drops.